Hey, yo, what's up, Bills Mafia? We are back in business. It is a new season. Training camp is open. And after the run to the AFC Championship game, lost to Kansas City, like I predicted at the beginning, I'm back. So, this was an interesting offseason. I got to talk about two things to start off. I'll do another video after this one, but there are two things that came up that have come up recently that I have to start off talking about. The obvious Cole Beasley situation with the whole NFLPA and the vaccination issues and the COVID issues and COVID protocols. And I'm just going to address this briefly. I don't know why Cole Beasley felt the need to, be as boisterous as he was, but it's his own personal decision to address things the way he felt like it. I will say that. I am personally, okay, I'm going to say this briefly. I am vaccinated. I got vaccinated from the beginning. As soon as I was eligible to be vaccinated, I got vaccinated. I believe in the vaccinations. I believe in the science. I believe in listening to scientists and not doubters or what have you. But I respect Cole Beasley's right to his own opinion. People have different opinions. And he's got something else going on, in terms of what he's talking about. He's not just talking about the vaccination, though. He's talking about how the NFLPA and how the owners are addressing the whole protocol and that kind of situation. That's what he's addressing. So he's got a lot going on, and so I don't have any animosity towards Cole Beasley for saying what he's said. That being said, let's get to item number 2. Austin, Texas. You hear the rumors, and I'm going to say to Bills fans, I'm going to say this to Bills fans. I am 52 years old. I remember when I was a young teenager, just getting into football as a fan. I remember watching the news one morning and watching the Mayflower truck pull out of the Colts training facilities. And because Baltimore didn't want to build a new stadium for the Colts. Memorial Stadium was run down, it was old, they didn't want to build a new stadium. Eventually, the Colts left. I remember the Houston Oilers, now the Tennessee Titans. Of course, I live in Tennessee, ironically. But I remember that fiasco. And worst of all, I remember Cleveland. The original Cleveland Browns played in what can only be described as a stadium comparable to that of War Memorial Stadium in Buffalo. If you're old enough to remember it, I remember it. I remember going to Bison's games there. I'm not old enough to remember going to Bills games there, but I'm old enough to remember going to Bison's games there, and it was a piece of crap. And Art Modell tried to negotiate with Cleveland to build a new stadium. They kept promising him things. Then they went and built the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Then they went and built the new arena for the Cavs. Then they went and built Jacobs Field. And they left him sitting as the only tenant in that horrible monstrosity of a stadium. Eventually he left. Became the Baltimore Ravens. If anybody remembers, I'm just old enough to remember the St. Louis Cardinals, now the Arizona Cardinals. They had a stadium issue. Wasn't addressed. They moved. All of these cities were legacy cities. St. Louis was an old NFL city. Baltimore was an old NFL city. Cleveland, an old NFL city. Houston was a founding AFL city. These cities did not pony up. I mean, I would include Oakland in there, but they knew all along that ownership was going to move. That wasn't a bluff. They knew it wasn't a bluff because they had been the Oakland Raiders and the LA Raiders and back to the Oakland Raiders. So they knew that family was capable of doing what they did. So they had no excuses. But I say all of this because, San Diego Chargers, now the LA Chargers. How can I forget them? Founding AFL franchise, no longer in San Diego. And here's the deal. Don't think it can't happen to us Bills fans. Don't sit there and say, oh, they'll never move. It's the Pegulas. They won't do that. You've got all kinds of examples around you as to why it can and could very well happen. No, Austin, Texas is not some sprawling metropolis. But you know what it is? It's a city comparable to Nashville. And it's on the come up. When people think about cities that are on the come up, Austin, Texas is one of them. Cowboys and the Texans probably wouldn't want it, but guess what? It could happen. So don't be fooled. And as far as don't put public money into it, I saw a post on the Bills Mafia fan page today that was really, really on point, really enlightening. And in short, basically the guy that posted it said, look, you're going to exit 54, Tennessee 155, Riley Parkway. Sorry, I'm on my way somewhere. I forgot to turn my GPS off on my other phone. But anyway, he said, you put public money into stuff. Nobody questioned public money going into stadiums in New York City, although part of it was state money, which means Buffalo taxpayers put into those stadiums, and nobody said anything. But when he said that, I began to think about a lot of things, and you talk about public money going into private enterprise, and it happens all the time. But because it's on a smaller scale, nobody says anything about it. Nobody really complains about it too much. They're just glad to have the enterprise there. They're glad to have the business there. They're glad to have whatever temporary jobs or whatever. It's the same thing, except it's just a little bit bigger. Think of tax breaks and tax incentives and public land being given to private businesses to put their businesses in your city for jobs. Sometimes it's only 300 jobs. Sometimes it's only 50 jobs. But you do it to bring business there to up your reputation and to maybe bring in other businesses who will pay tax money. And so stadiums are kind of that on a bigger scale. You invest public money into these stadiums, and really, okay, if Pegula could build the stadium on his own, if he built the stadium on his own, guess what? He gets to keep all the money. If you partner with him, you can negotiate revenue, okay? Parking revenue, concession revenue. You can negotiate all of that. But if you don't put any money into it, guess what? You ain't getting nothing either. So to say don't contribute money is a little bit disingenuous. You have to remember, this is Buffalo's team. And if it's your team, you know, you gotta pay. You gotta pay something. You can't just say. You can't say on one hand, "Oh, this is Buffalo's team. This is Bills Mafia. This is our team, our city," and then say, "You know what? You want a new stadium for our team? You have to pay for it." And ownership is like, "Wait, no, I thought this was your team too. I own the team, but it's your team too. I bought it to keep it in town because you wanted it. I wanted it." So, you know, I think that you know, they can move, but you never know. But I will say this: I will be back with some more content. We're going to, starting this weekend, I'm going to do some wing searches in Nashville for all of you people that are coming to Nashville to watch the Bills take on the Titans this season. I'll find some wing spots for you to go to hit while you're here. And maybe some Nashville hot chicken, a little local flavor. So, as always, thank you for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe on the YouTube channel, and subscribe to the Facebook page, or follow the Facebook page, and follow me on Instagram. Have a good one. As always, go Bills!